if this thing doesn't work, this is gonna be a pretty easy video, because that just makes this a high-tech, futuristic piece of gear, which probably means that it doesn't even matter. But if it does work, then that's where this gets uncomfortable. This is a powered hiking exoskeleton, and today, I'm taking it up the Manitou Incline. I'm not here to trash it. I'm not here to try to sell it. I just want to know if this is useful outdoor tech, and if powered hiking is gonna change the purpose of why we get out here in the first place. But before we start hiking, I think we need to talk a little bit about why this feels weird.
Most of us who spend time outside are not against gear. I mean, I love some good gear. A lighter pack, better shoes, trekking poles, a GPS watch, a satellite messenger. All of that can make hiking safer, easier, and just more enjoyable. So I don't think the question is technology bad? That's too easy. But this feels different, because this is not just helping what I carry. It's helping how I move. And I think a lot of hikers are going to see this and initially think, well, that's cheating. Or maybe they think, that doesn't belong out here at all. And honestly, I get that. Because part of what makes hiking and backpacking special is that it still feels simple. You carry what you need. You climb the hill. You deal with the effort. And eventually, you get rewarded with the views. So I think the better question is this. At what point does gear stop helping the outdoor experience and start replacing a part of it? And I don't think that I can answer that fairly by just standing here in my studio. So I need to get out there with it and actually use it somewhere where help could actually matter.
This is the Manitou Incline, and if you've never been here, it's basically a giant staircase that goes straight up the mountain. It's steep, it's super popular, and it's extremely obvious on camera. Now, this is not a perfect backpacking test, because I'm not carrying a full multi-day worth of gear. I'm not even deep in the backcountry. But if powered assistant legs are gonna prove anything, it's definitely gonna prove it here. So today I'm paying attention to three basic things. Does it help? Does it feel natural? And does it change the experience? But first, here's the simple version of what this thing does.
This is the Hypershell X Ultra. The company sent it to me to test, but they're not telling me what to say. So this is not gonna be a commercial for the product. The simple version is this. It straps around your waist and legs, and when you walk or climb, it adds powered assistance to your stride. It's got different modes, and it's built for outdoor movement. Things like hiking, climbing, changing terrain, those kind of things. On paper, this is one of the more serious examples of where this kind of gear might be heading. Hyperlight says that this is the best exoskeleton on the market, but specs are only going to tell you so much. What I really care about is what happens when this leaves the product page and gets out on the real climb.
Okay, I can definitely feel this thing doing something. Now, it's not pulling me up the mountain, but it kind of feels like if you would have tied a rope to my knees and like somebody's picking up my knee and giving me assistance as I lift it up. I'm still doing the climbing, but I can feel it giving me some support as I'm going up. Hypershell says that this thing helps you increase your output by 40%. And I can kind of feel that. But the strange thing is as I'm hiking up with it, I'm already paying attention more to the device than I am the experience of hiking up the hill or even my surroundings. Normally I'd be thinking about my pace, my breathing, even where I'm putting my foot. But instead, I find myself focusing a lot on what this thing is doing to my body. That's not automatically bad. It may just be because it's new. But we gotta keep going if we're gonna figure that out. So, first impressions, I can definitely feel this thing doing something. But the real question is gonna be, what do I think whenever the newness wears off? This is where the incline becomes a really good test for this. At the bottom, everything still feels new. The straps are new. The movement is new. The feeling is even new. But after a few minutes, the climb eventually just becomes the climb. Don't get me wrong, I'm still working. This thing isn't doing the climb for me, but I can see why someone would be interested in this. On some of the steps, it feels like it takes a little bit of the edge off, but not all of it, not even close. But it's definitely enough that I notice it. All right, checkpoint number 1. This thing definitely helps enough that I can feel it, but not enough that makes me think that I'm not still working, because this is where it gets more complicated. If this thing felt useless, this would be a lot easier of a story, because we could just laugh it off and move on. But if it even helps just a little bit, then this is not something to laugh about. We're talking about outdoor gear that's probably going to continue to get better and better. At this point, I'm asking myself a few things. Is it making me less tired? Is it changing my pace? And is it distracting me? And maybe the biggest thing here is, does it still feel like hiking? Right now, I think the answer is kind of yes and no. I still feel the stairs. I definitely still feel my breathing. And I have to still choose my steps. But I also know that I'm not moving the way I would normally. This is where I would expect it to matter. I'm still working, but it does feel different. And this is where the question got harder for me, because whether something works or whether something belongs, it's not always the same.
This is the part that I think that's easy to miss. A lot of people are going to want a simple answer. Either, this is the future, or this should never be on trail. But I don't think either answer is quite honest enough. We already use gear to make hiking easier. Trekking poles, lighter packs, GPS, satellite messengers. None of that's exactly old school hiking either. So if the argument's just gear shouldn't make hiking easier, I think that argument's already gone. But powered assistance does feel different because it's helping with the actual movement. And at some point, I have to ask myself, is this helping the hike? Or is this just becoming the thing that I'm paying attention to? After using this, that's when I realized that I was asking one question, when I probably should be asking 3. Does it work? Is it useful? And does it belong? Because those aren't the same thing. First, does it work? Based on what I felt today, yeah, it does. I could feel the assistance. It didn't remove the climb. It didn't make the incline easy. But it did change the effort. It felt like it took the edge off in certain moments, especially when the steps got steeper or even more repetitive. Second, is it useful? I think it could be. Not for everyone, not for every trail, and not in every situation. But I could see where something like this could be useful on steep climbs, long approaches, heavy load situations, or certain types of outdoor work. But useful doesn't automatically mean simple. You still have to wear it. You still have to adjust it. You still have to manage the battery and the settings. And you still have to decide if the help is worth the extra complexity. And then there's the hardest question. Does it belong? That's where I have to slow down a bit. Because I don't think that the product itself is the whole issue. I think the issue is where it's used, how it's used, and how many people are using it, and whether or not it changes the experience for the people around you. That's where this becomes less of a product question and more of a trail question. So I don't think the answer is ban the robot legs. And I don't think the answer is everybody should get over it. I think the real question is, where's the line?
All right, made it to the top. Whew, definitely wore out. But I could definitely tell the difference in wearing these things. So here's where I land right now. I don't think this automatically ruins trails. I really don't. A lot of gear that we use nowadays would have looked really ridiculous to hikers generations ago. So I want to be careful about rejecting something just because it looks strange. But I also don't think that outdoor people are wrong for being cautious, because powered assistance is not just a lighter backpack. It changes the movement itself. And for me, the line is not simply, does it make hiking easier? Because most gear does that.
The better question is, does it still respect the trail? Does it respect the people around you? And does it respect the effort and the judgment that the place deserves? On a crowded fitness style climb like the incline, maybe the conversation is different than it would be deep in the backcountry. Maybe front country trails and remote wilderness areas deserves different answers. And I think that matters, because not every outdoor place has to accept every type of technology. That doesn't mean that the technology is evil. It just means that the place matters. For me, I would be careful with something like this. Careful about where I use it. Careful about how I use it. And careful not to let it replace judgment. Because any gear that makes the outdoors feel easier can also make us a little too confident. And that's where I start to get a little uncomfortable.
All right, so after taking this thing up the incline, here's my honest answer. I don't think this automatically ruins the trail, but I do think hikers are right to be asking questions before this becomes the new norm. Because the trail is one of the few places left where the experience still feels simple. You move through the world using your own power. You feel the climb. You make decisions, and that's part of what makes it meaningful. If technology supports that experience, then I'm open to it. But if it starts changing the experience for everyone else, or if it encourages people to skip the judgment part, then I think outdoor people are right to push back a little. So for me, this thing might have a place. But the place matters. The attitude matters. And the way we use it matters.
And I'm genuinely curious where you would draw the line. Is powered hiking just another form of gear? Or does this change something important about the trail? Let me know in the comments, because I think reasonable outdoor people are going to think about this one differently. And if you're new to backpacking and you're still trying to figure out what gear you need and what you need to have on a trail, I've got a beginner backpacking starter kit that gives you all kinds of information to help you get out on the trail for your first trip. I'll make sure to leave it in the links below. As always, guys, I hope this was useful to you, and hopefully I see you out on the trail.